No more money until you get a real job, Dad announced. At the shareholders meeting, the bank's CEO stood up. Thank you for saving us, ma'am. Mom's face went white. I owned 51% of their bank. I stared at the banking app on my phone, remembering Dad's words from 3 years ago. No more trust fund until you get a respectable job like your brother. No daughter of mine is going to waste her life investing in startups from a laptop. Now, at 26, I sat in my private office on the 92nd floor of Manhattan's most expensive building, managing a $12 billion investment fund that specialized in failing banks. Not that my family knew. They thought I was probably waitressing somewhere, learning the value of hard work, as Mom loved to say. Ms. Chin, my assistant's voice came through the intercom. The report on First Heritage Bank just arrived. Their situation is worse than expected. First Heritage Bank, the very institution where my father served as board director, where my brother was a VP of something important, his words, and where my family's reputation had been built over 3 generations of connections and old money. Send it in, I said, already knowing what I'd find. The report confirmed my analyst's predictions. First Heritage was quietly imploding. Bad loans, poor management, and a complete failure to adapt to digital banking had left them vulnerable. Their stock had been sliding for months, but my family was too proud to admit their precious bank was in trouble. My phone buzzed with the usual Sunday dinner reminder from Mom. Dinner at 7, though I suppose you're too busy with your investment hobby to join your successful family. I'd skipped the last 6 months of dinners, unable to stomach another evening of my brother bragging about his crucial role at the bank, while Mom hinted about various suitable banking executives I should date. Claire, I called my CFO. What's our current position in First Heritage? She pulled up the numbers on her tablet. Through various shells and overseas entities, we own 47% of their shares. One more buy and we'll have controlling interest. Their CEO still thinks we're multiple small investors. I smiled, remembering how many times I'd sat at the family dinner table, listening to Dad and my brother discuss bank matters, never noticing that each time they mentioned a troublesome small investor, they were actually talking about me. The shareholders meeting is next week, Claire continued. They're expecting you to attend, though they don't know it's you, of course. The CEO wants to meet the mysterious Miss Zhang who's been buying up their stock. Miss Zhang, my mother's maiden name, which I'd used to build my empire while staying off my family's radar. For 3 years I'd worked in complete anonymity, using the last of my trust fund money to start investing in struggling banks, turning them around and building a reputation as the most feared and unseen force in banking. Time to crash a family party, I said, pulling up the shareholders meeting details. Schedule the final stock purchase for 10 minutes before the meeting starts. I want to walk in there owning 51% of First Heritage Bank. Your family will be there, Claire reminded me. Your father's position on the board will be up for review once I take control, I finished, along with every other executive position. My phone buzzed again, a text from my brother. Hey sis, heard you're still playing investor. Let me know if you want a real job at the bank. I could use an assistant. I took a deep breath, remembering the day they'd cut me off. Mom crying about how I was throwing away my education, Dad threatening to disinherit me, my brother smugly offering to put in a word for me at the bank. Claire, I said, standing up, make sure our takeover team is ready and have my car brought around. I need to go shopping. I smiled. If I'm going to destroy my family's illusions about my career, I want to do it in a perfect outfit. After all, First Heritage Bank was about to learn that their worst nightmare wasn't some mysterious Miss Zhang, it was the daughter they'd written off as a failure. The First Heritage Bank boardroom buzzed with nervous energy. Through the glass walls, I watched my father adjust his tie for the 10th time, while my brother attempted to look important among the senior executives. Mom sat in the observer section, probably wondering why I hadn't responded to her latest text about a nice young banker she wanted me to meet. Miss Zhang's representatives are here, the CEO announced, his voice betraying his anxiety. Nobody had ever seen the mysterious investor who'd been systematically buying up their stock. I checked my phone. 9:50 a.m. In exactly 10 minutes, the final shares would be purchased. My team was already in position, documents ready. That's a lovely Chanel suit, a woman whispered as I took my seat in the back. Are you here with one of the board members? I smiled, thinking of how many times I'd been dismissed in rooms like this. Something like that. At precisely 10 a.m., my phone vibrated. Claire's message was simple, 51% confirmed. You own First Heritage Bank. The CEO took his position at the podium, trying to project confidence. Before we begin, I'd like to address the rumors about our recent stock performance. Actually, I stood up, my heels clicking against the marble floor as I walked forward. I believe there's been a change to the agenda. The room fell silent. Mom's hand flew to her throat. Dad's face went from confused to shocked to pale in rapid succession. My brother's smug smile froze, then cracked. Sarah, he stammered, what are you doing here? This is a shareholders meeting. I know. I handed the CEO a folder. As of 10 minutes ago, I own 51% of First Heritage Bank. These documents confirm the transfer of controlling interest to my fund. The CEO's hands shook as he read. This can't be. Miss Xiang, I presume? One of the board members asked. Miss Xiang is one of my holding companies, I said, taking my place at the head of the table. I'm Sarah Chin, CEO of Phoenix Capital Partners. Though some of you might know me better as the daughter who needed to learn the value of real work. Mom made a small choking sound. Dad looked like he'd seen a ghost. This is ridiculous. My brother jumped up. Sarah plays with investments on her laptop. She's not your new boss. I finished for him, projecting my fund's portfolio onto the screen. Phoenix Capital Partners, $12 billion in assets, specialized in banking acquisitions and turnarounds. Currently rated as the most successful private investment fund in the sector, the board members were all staring at the numbers at the list of banks we'd acquired and transformed. Dad's hands gripped the table edge as he recognized names of competitors who'd mysteriously recovered after near collapse. Now, I continued, let's discuss the bank's digital transformation strategy, or rather, its complete lack of one. Would anyone like to explain why First Heritage still operates like it's 1985? We have a digital strategy, my brother protested weakly. You have an app that crashes every other day and security protocols that a teenager could hack. Your mobile banking platform looks like it was designed when I was in kindergarten, and your loan approval process still involves actual paper forms. The CEO cleared his throat. Miss Chin, ma'am. Perhaps we should discuss this privately. Oh, now you want to discuss things with me? I smiled. Interesting. When my fund's representatives suggested modernization 6 months ago, you dismissed them as young people who don't understand traditional banking. Dad finally found his voice. Sarah, honey. Mr. Chin. I cut him off. Board members should address the majority shareholder formally during official meetings. We can do family titles at dinner, if I'm still invited, that is. Mom was frantically typing on her phone, probably updating her country club friends about her daughter's unexpected transformation from disappointment to banking queen. The first order of business, I said, opening my laptop, is a complete review of all executive positions, including, of course, the board of directors. My brother's face went from red to white. Dad's grip on the table tightened. But before that, I smiled. Would anyone like to discuss the value of a real job? All in favor of the complete digital transformation initiative? Every hand shot up, even my brother's, though his arm shook visibly. 2 hours into the meeting, the old guard of First Heritage Bank had been thoroughly dismantled. My father sat silently, watching his decades of traditional banking policies get erased in minutes. Excellent. I closed my laptop. The transition team starts tomorrow. You'll all receive emails about your revised positions. Mom hadn't moved from her observer seat, still clutching her phone like a lifeline. The last text I'd seen her send read, cancel the dinner with Richard's son. My daughter apparently owns banks now. Meeting adjourned, I announced. Except for the Chin family, we have some private matters to discuss. As the room cleared, my brother attempted to slip out. I have a meeting with... Sit down, Michael, I said quietly. Your calendar just cleared, indefinitely. When we were alone, the silence felt heavy enough to crush steel. Dad stared at his reflection in the polished table. Mom dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. And Michael looked like he might be sick. 3 years, I finally said. 3 years of when will you get a real job? 3 years of being the family embarrassment. 3 years of listening to Michael brag about his vice presidency while I was quietly buying the bank out from under him. Sweetie, Mom started. We just wanted to control me, to force me into your version of success. I pulled up the bank's financials on the screen. While you were all playing status games at country clubs, First Heritage was dying. Your traditional values nearly destroyed a 100-year-old institution. We were protecting our legacy, Dad said weakly. No, you were clinging to the past while the future happened without you. Do you know why I used Mom's maiden name to build my fund? They looked at me blankly. Because the Chin name meant more to you than your own daughter's dreams. You were so worried about reputation that you couldn't see the world changing around you. Michael found his voice. So this is revenge, taking over the bank to punish us. I laughed. Revenge? Michael, I just saved your career. In 6 months, First Heritage would have collapsed. My fund was the only thing keeping your stock price above water for the past year. That's impossible, Dad protested. We would have known. Really? Like you knew your daughter was running a $12 billion investment fund? Face it, Dad, you stopped seeing clearly a long time ago. Mom wiped away fresh tears. All those dinners you missed. I was busy buying your bank. Besides, it's hard to enjoy family dinner when everyone treats you like a failure. I stood up, smoothing my suit. Here's how this works going forward. Dad, you can keep your board seat as chairman emeritus. No power, just the title you love so much. Michael, you'll be reassigned to our digital training program. Start from the bottom. Learn how modern banking actually works. And me? Mom asked quietly. You can keep planning those country club dinners. Just stop trying to set me up with banking executives. I prefer not to date my employees. I gathered my things, feeling lighter than I had in years. Oh, and about Sunday dinners? I'll start attending again on one condition. Anything, Mom said quickly. We rotate locations. My penthouse has an excellent view of all the banks I own, including this one. As I walked to the door, Dad called out. Sarah? When did you get so powerful? I turned back, remembering all the times I'd sat silently at their dinner table, listening to them underestimate me. I always was, Dad. You just never bothered to notice. In the elevator, I checked my phone. Dozens of missed calls from relatives suddenly discovering their failed family member was a financial titan. A text from Claire. Next target acquired. Another family-owned bank in need of modernization. I smiled, thinking of the shocked faces I'd left in the boardroom. Sometimes success isn't about proving your family wrong. It's about showing them that their definition of success was wrong all along. Claire, I typed, schedule a cleaning service for my penthouse. I'm hosting Sunday dinner this week. Let's show my family what their hobby investor has built. After all, revenge may be sweet, but success, real, undeniable success, tastes even better. Especially when served with a side of humble pie.